Now we're live.
Okay.
Now we're live. We'll get to that killer fire intro for tomorrow night's show, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in. It's your boy Jay Sieg of the Patrick Pucci Fantasy Show. This is the fantasy preview show. This is our first show, and we are really excited to be here with all of you. I've got a few goats I do want to introduce. I've got the Commissioner Rhino. I got the best ball Jonesy, and of course I've got Trent, but we all know him as the Fantasy Dads. Welcome, guys. How are you?
Good.
Doing good.
I'm glad everybody is doing great. This is what I figured that we would do. It is, of course, our first show. It is the fantasy preview show, but I figured we would recap the previous two games that were just on last night and Thursday. I do want to I want to get into a 2024 fantasy outlook. Give us some bold predictions, hand out some awards, how we think it's going to go, how we handled our draft process along the way leading up to this point. We'll go through maybe some quick news and notes, nothing too crazy. Pretty much we have everything set in stone except for one Jamar Goat Chase. We'll get to that in a little bit. Then we'll preview the main slate for tomorrow night. How's that sound, guys?
Let's go.
All right. Well, look, where do we want to start? Do we want to start from last night's game, or do we want to go from Thursday and work our way?
Go Thursday. Thursday the last night.
All right. Well, Thursday. We had the Chiefs did edge out the Ravens on the last play. Final score was, as we know, 27-20. Why don't you give us a key takeaway? What's the one thing that stood out to you based on this previous matchup of the AFC Championship last year? Start. Anyone could go.
Likely, how Andrews had to stay in and block most of the time, and now likely he's probably essentially the wide receiver one probably now as it look, and that Baltimore needs a secondary wide receiver. Otherwise, Zay Flowers is going to be doing what he did last night, just dink and dunks, and maybe going downfield sometimes.
Yeah, it looked very reminiscent of what we saw out of the two of them last season. Likely though was I was surprised by his usage. How about that? Whether Mark Andrews was asked to stay in and block for the running game, which it really wasn't that much of a running game to be blocking for. The offensive line, I guess you could say, does come in with some questions because Derrick Henry didn't have, the game that I think a lot of people expected him to have.
No.
Yes, the King did score, but again, the usage between him and Justice Hill was like split down the middle. Justice Hill, of course, being that third down blocking, that third down running back passing option out of the backfield. But yeah, their usage was basically 50 to 49%. Jonesy, what do you think?
A lot of people are freaking out about Likely, and honestly, it's on my radar. Obviously, you can't see that and not be aware. But there's one thing we know about Lamar: he throws to the middle of the field. He throws to the tight ends. Kansas City decided to take Andrews out. Andrews still had more routes. He still had more snaps. If Andrews would have been on the sideline and Likely was out there, I think we freak out. But he was involved, So, this should be good for us because we know that the tight ends are still going to be involved, like always.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not like Likely was playing in place of Andrews. That's one thing. They were both involved. He just wasn't getting targeted because Kansas City took him out of the. If they're going to go after someone on that offense, Andrews is probably the guy they want to take out, and that's what they did. So someone else is going to produce, and it just happened to be Likely. If it was Rashad Bateman who got 12 targets, would everyone be freaking out about Andrews?
No.
I don't know. That's just my thoughts on it. I see your face, Sieg. I mean,
no, I'm not making the face at your remarks. I'm making the face at the reaction from everybody based on the Isaiah Likely performance, scrambling now whether they should go pick him up or not. Like, okay, I understand, I get it, and everybody's league is different. Of course, it's a possibility, or it should be considered to perhaps pick up Likely. But again, I think there's just a huge overreaction to the performance and the usage. I would want to see this on a more consistent basis. Now, again, consistent basis. How many more weeks? How often are we going to have to see this before it's like, oh well, man, I should have picked up Isaiah Likely, Dad. Yeah, your thoughts? I mean,
yeah, I mean, for me, I try not to, all of us, I'm sure, try not to overreact after week one, right? So like Isaiah Likely, if you're in a redraft league, 5-6 bench spots, like you have another tight end, like you don't really need necessarily to go out and put a bunch of, fab trying to get Isaiah Likely off of waivers next week, right? But but I'm in a lot of like deeper leagues too, and in some of those deeper leagues, he's not really available. But where he is available, I mean, it's definitely he's worth a look. But I'm with Jonesy though. I think a lot of football to be played. I'm not panicking about Mark Andrews. For me, it takes 3 weeks before I panic. So I'm gonna hang in there. I think the tight end usage is exactly what we want and what we want to see, and so I'm not too worried about it right now.
Where is your panic meter on a scale of 1 to 10 regarding Derrick King Henry? This was somebody, again, preseason, off season, all those workout videos, those clips. Boy, did he look like a beast. And then on the field against the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead, the 30-year-old looked like a good 30-year-old, a good running back. Again, could this possibly be an overreaction from even myself? Will we see Derrick Henry in other games, other situations against other defenses have one of these vintage 22, 25 carry games for over 100 yards and a score? I mean, it's possible, but I'm just, again, I find it a little interesting though, like how high he was drafted, and that the performance or the output that he put together. Again, we should be looking at it as a little bit of an overreaction as well. Also, the Ravens offensive line didn't look very good as well. Of course, Lamar Jackson being the quarterback that he is, able to scramble out of the way, pick up yards, and he's not going to get sacked very often. But again, that offensive line didn't look very good. How about, real fast, the other side of the ball, the Kansas City Chiefs and their first round pick?
Man, he was everything I was hoping he was going to be.
Yeah, that was awesome.
He's a bigger, faster Tyreek Hill, and I can't wait till Mahomes gets more comfortable with him and opens.
Yeah, because he did all that on, what was it, 3 touches? Is that right?
Yeah,
hell of a fishing.
Yeah.
That's exactly the way it's going to look. Also,
and he had one touch. He almost had 3 touchdowns too, because that one pass. He almost tipped it to himself.
He looked very good. He looked very, very good. And again, I smirked a little bit, Rhino, not at you, But like I remember what I was thinking when I saw him at the press conference at post game. Looks like a freaking baby.
Yeah.
So will he become like a bigger, stronger, and just as fast of a Tyreek Hill? Probably. It seems to be like the same exact body. Same type, seems to be the same player. Andy Reid and the Chiefs, again, they hit a home run with that pick.
Surprised you guys how much Juju played?
Did he play? He played, right?
Yeah. You got to figure Juju was just there, a year removed from being there. It was an easy pickup for him to step into that offense and know exactly, what to do, where to go. I just want to mention I know everyone is hyped, but just be careful with over efficiency. And you see a guy have big plays. Yeah, it's wonderful. But Rashee Rice is the main wide receiver. Travis Kelce is still going to be Kelce.
True.
And Hollywood Brown isn't playing. Once Hollywood Brown's back, it adds one more guy in the mix. Just be careful with Worthy and what your expectations are, because I have a feeling it's going to be very up and down.
It'll be up and down.
It's going to be inconsistent. I saw a trade today, and I don't know what type of league it was, but someone traded Rashee Rice for Xavier Worthy. And I just looked at it, and I'm like, what are you doing? So just be careful on hype, be careful on highlights, just.
Yeah. I kind of feel like, without knowing the exact number, percentage, whatever the case may be, a lot of people just like play that type of fantasy football, right? They have the need to make these trades. They have the need to make these pickups, kind of like acting on impulses or overreacting to what they see in a very, very small vacuum, small window. And I don't know. I feel like experience has shown that, it's kind of like an ebb and a flow. You kind of have to just wait and see how long, or see how things play out. It's the $1 million question is, how long do you wait, or how long till you really know, or when should you make the move or pull the trigger? Week 1 again seems to be a little unnecessary. However, moving on to the next game last night, there was a real concern to perhaps a lot of fantasy managers needing to make or consider making a waiver wire move for a quarterback. Great news, as a matter of fact, Jones a goat out of Green Bay, Wisconsin, that Jordan Love, who on like the second to last play of the game, his leg buckled, knee buckled. Reports are that it is just a sprained MCL, thankfully. But other than that, there was a real cause for concern, not just for the man's health, but then, of course, as you're playing the game now. True, you didn't draft Jordan Love that high, but a lot of people were drafting him at an awesome value to perhaps smash his ADP and perhaps be a weak Leonard come week 17. Good news is, again, if he's going to miss some time, it may be only a few weeks. I'll defer to the injury experts on that. Injury experts, by the way, that would be Dr. Jesse Morse. And then, of course, all the regular main news outlets. Other than that, though, the big takeaway for me in that game, besides Saquon, obviously that was a great coming out party. Jayden Reed. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Excuse my language. Jayden Reed. Yes, Christian Watson was targeted in the red zone about 4 times. Came away with one finally for a touchdown. But terrible 18 yards on like 3 catches. Not a good game. Jayden Reed just picked up exactly where he left off. Your thoughts?
Yeah.
Jayden Reed is my favorite. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Please, Dad.
Okay.
Or
Well, Jayden Reed, like
or have a
going
drink, please.
going into the season, the big question with Green Bay was like, which wide receiver? And all along, like to me, Jayden Reed's been my favorite before and going into the season. And we're not going to see that performance every week, but I mean, he's something else out there. Like he was quick. They were using him on that end around and everything, kind of gadgety stuff. And the thing is now, of course, it's week one. People have tape like Jayden Reed. He's not always going to be that open. He's not always going to do that. But then that's where Green Bay is going to kill you with the rest of their receivers. And on any given week, any of them can go off, But that was like awesome for me to see last night because Jayden Reed was like, he was my pick of the bunch going into the season. So I loved seeing him go off last night.
It looked like they were, as you were alluding, they're like designing it up for him because he's the most explosive player that they have. Romeo Doubs, again, a very, very good wide receiver. He connected with Dobbs on just the same basic like out pattern, like to the side, out of bounds. That's the end of it. Like very reliable. We need this possession. We need this catch. And here's my guy. Christian Watson was completely for the for the end zone. And then Jayden Reed is like, we want a big play. We want a splash. We have several ways we could do it with him.
Yeah.
Damn. Again, Dad, it's funny because all preseason it's like which Green Bay Packer, and then there was the camp of, well, let's go for the great value in Christian Watson. Okay, well, again, that could very well be the case because look, he's the one that was targeted in the end zone. Which Green Bay Packer? Well, don't take any of the receivers. Go for the quarterback. Go for the one that's passing the rock, or you go for the running backs, the ones that the safer options that don't have to that aren't like fighting with one another for receptions and for targets. Go with the running backs. Look, I mean, Green Bay, they still put up 29 points. But they're Rhino, their defense. It's the same defense.
Yeah.
Same defense.
Okay. I'm not gonna overreact yet because
Good.
It was the first game of the season. How you can't? It's a new system. They're playing on a shitty field. Let's see what they look like on their field in a good field condition because I don't think. I think that's just an anomaly, in my opinion. I think they'll be fine.
Let me ask you this then, for you or for Jonesy. What would it take for Green Bay for their defense to look like, okay, a great unit? Like, who are they going to have to play? The Vikings? Right? I mean, like, are they going to just is their defensive unit going to step up against a weaker competition? Because again, they're going to have to play teams that are able to put up points, like the Eagles.
They play the Colts next, right, Jonesy?
Yeah, week 2 I think is Colts.
The Colts.
They're going back-to-back games with running backs that are top 5.
The Colts are So again. Yes, I'm with you. I don't want to overreact to their defensive performance either, but at the same time, like it begs the question. Like if they go to Foxborough Gillette Stadium, without any disrespect to anybody in the chat, if they have to go and play a weaker opponent, is that when like okay, so now their defense looks good, or now they can stop the run because the opposing running backs are inferior? So. Yes, their defense, they gave up, 34 points. It's not a good performance. All right, guys, that's I think that'll do it. We would be remiss if we left off this important takeaway from this game. The Eagles' offensive line, how the Eagles' tush push was not executed.
Now, was that the center, Cam Jurgens' fault, the center? Because he had some muffed snaps last night. That's something I have to clean up pretty quickly because
Yeah.
that's gonna be issues later on.
So yeah, no, I definitely wanted to get that in there before we move on. All right, so fellas, yeah, 2 great games. Couldn't ask for anything else in terms of to start the season. But let's we're gonna play on till tomorrow. Tomorrow. Some news and notes, real quick. Yeah, CMC, he's gonna be playing. Jalen Warren in Pittsburgh, he's active or will be active. However, Russell Wilson won't be active. Roman Wilson won't be active in that game. DeAndre Hopkins.
And Higgins is out this weekend, right?
Higgins out. However, the GOAT, Jamar Chase. Look, I've maintained that he's playing this game no matter what. The only question is, how much is he going to be on the field based on the fact that he didn't really get in a full complement of practice reps. I mean, it's Jamar Chase. He's an elite athlete, but still, I would think that you would still want to be doing normal football activity in practice. There's, anything and everything that's behind closed doors, what we don't see with the cameras. I'm not sure how much Jamar did participate doing all that. So, not sure how much he's going to play. I maintain that he is going to play. Now there's an illness attached to it as well. Again,
yeah, no contact.
Yeah, again,
Yeah.
I'm not. There's absolutely. How about this? I would be absolutely amazed. I'd be shocked if Jamar Chase doesn't play. All right.
Let me ask you guys a real quick question.
Sure.
If you're a CMC fantasy owner, how worried are you about him tomorrow?
Monday.
Yeah, Monday. My bad, Monday. Yeah.
Whether again.
I think he plays. I mean, the only concern I would have is if they maybe snap count him or something. I mean, you never know how serious these things are. I posted today on Twitter that the NFL should bring the probable tag back because deciphering what these guys are doing is just, the old days, if you saw probable, it was like, okay, they're going. If they're questionable, it's like, okay, well, maybe they're going to be 50-50, and then once you saw doubtful, that was the big red flag, obviously. But, you just don't know. I mean, obviously you're starting CMC. I mean, you're not sitting him, but you could see an uptick. Maybe Mason gets a few more carries. Maybe Debo gets a few more carries.
Like we saw last night with Jaden Reed, that 1 carry to the house. Dad, I think Jordan Mason is going to play a little bit more than CMC owners would like, for the simple fact that I think the 49ers, I think Shanahan, I don't think they could afford to lose this man early on in the season. They can't afford to lose this man at any point in the season. I think they're going to lighten the load after the season that he had last year. That pretty much ended last February. Didn't end last January. It ended in the middle of February, and he already, he has a tweaked calf. I'm a CMC owner in 1 league. It happens to be an important league, so I'm concerned for it for sure. Dad, by the way, folks, I keep calling this man Dad. This is the fantasy dads. I know it says Trent, but he's Dad. Obviously he's a dad, but it's like, how about destruction of defense? Destruction against defense. That's what Dad stands for now. Destruction against defense. Anyway.
Yeah.
What's your level of concern? What's your panic meter? I mean, I wouldn't even call it a panic meter for CMC, really. But like, yeah, there's Jonesy, Dad. There's got to be some concern here, right? A little bit.
Yeah, I mean, because you hate to see this, and this is the kind of thing that can linger and hang around for an extended period. But yeah, I mean, as far as like week one though, like Jonesy was saying, I mean, you're starting CMC, like you're not, like you're not getting cute, you're not getting creative with your lineup week one. Like you drafted him first overall, like you're gonna put him in, and then I probably am just like salty because I ended up with like no shares of Jordan Mason, and so I really don't want to see that guy out there taking touches from CMC.
Yeah, you got to look at it this way though. When you draft CMC, this is what you get.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but this is why you also handcuff. I mean, handcuffing is, especially with a guy with CMC. If you're drafting CMC, you should be getting Jordan Mason. Like, there's no ands, if, or buts about it. And if you don't, then that's on you. I mean, this is what you should expect. And if you don't want to deal with it, like a lot of people don't, you just pivot and you don't take them. I mean, otherwise, we all know this is what it is every year.
For the CMC owners, we're at the point of no return.
Yep. It's too late. So you got to dig in, and if you don't have Mason and you got a bench spot, go get Garendo. So, because if something happens,
great point.
I mean,
great point on Isaac Garendo. So yeah, I mean, like the preseason darling so far has been Jordan Mason because, well, Elijah Mitchell, shocker.
No.
But then, yeah, Jordan Mason was the one that got all the steam. Isaac Garendo, great call there. All right, well, how about? Nah, that ain't gonna work. I love Kyle Juszczyk. Don't get me wrong. I love how he's used. I think he's invaluable to that team for fantasy. No,
yeah,
I know you were joking.
No, that's what Uncle Mercy said.
All right, so really? I'm sure. I'm sure Jazzy has Kyle Juszczyk on one of his teams somewhere. Why don't we carry this 49er talk into some bold predictions? What when this is all said and done? We're sitting at these tables now in January. It's the fantasy playoffs. Go ahead. What's a bold prediction that's going to happen? That's going to happen. It's going to happen. We don't make bold predictions for them not to happen.
That's right.
Go ahead.
You want me to go first? A bold prediction? I mean, okay.
Whatever.
My bold predictions aren't really that bold. They're not. I've got Breece Hall as the RB1. That isn't really that crazy. And I also have Jamar Chase as my wide receiver one. Would these be considered smashes at their ADP? No, they wouldn't be. But yeah, no, I didn't draft Breece Hall for him to finish like as the fifth person off the board. I drafted him believing that Breece Hall is going to be the RB1. Same thing for Jamar Chase. While everyone's drafting CD Lamb first, as of late, Amon-Ra St. Brown was going ahead of Chase. When this is all said and done, Chase still has the higher ceiling as far as I'm concerned. Attached to the quarterback. Then, of course, given his God-given talents and ability, all it requires now is just health out of the two of them. And it's
yeah.
Those are my bold. Those are my two. Again, they're not really that bold. I mean, I can go on and on. Just let's hear from you guys.
I think Garrett Wilson will end season wide receiver one. And I think Bijan Robinson will be RB1.
Okay.
And I think Matt Stafford ends up top 10 quarterback.
Okay.
Yeah, if he stays healthy.
If he stays healthy,
Yeah,
he's definitely got a shot. He has, again, we're talking about talents. It's a matter of his opportunity. Yeah, playing 17 games and 17 games of full health. Yeah, it's definitely possible. Um, Go ahead, Jonesy or Dad. Bold prediction.
Go ahead, Dad.
Someone give us a bold.
Well, so here's one. It'll go with yours, Sieg. Joe Burrow finishes as the overall QB 2. Because Josh Allen QB 1.
Nice.
Joe
swirl.
Burrow QB 2
All right.
to go with your Jamar Chase. And then y'all know I love Chris Olave. He's one of my guys. I'm going to put him in the top 5 wide receivers, fantasy wide receivers, top 5. Chris Olave. That's a little bolder. That's bolder.
I like that one. Top 5 wide receiver. Again, from where he's been drafted. If he finishes top 5, you would have had yourself an excellent draft pick, an excellent player. The only concern I have for Chris Olave, and I'm sure I don't got to tell you this, but we'll tell the audience how I feel about it. His quarterback, again, attached to the quarterback. Now, should something happen to Derek Carr, and it's not likely that this happens due to injury because the man is almost like iron. But, what would that look like with a rookie quarterback in Chris Olave? It could again, I don't want to sit here and say, oh, this is going to benefit Chris Olave or hurt Chris Olave. But again, what we do know is that Derek Carr can, to a degree, find Chris Olave. It didn't always look like that last season, but again, you're talking about an experienced quarterback versus a rookie quarterback. So again, I think that's the only thing that I would be concerned with in terms of Chris Olave is the quarterback. But again, we probably have to say that about most wide receivers. I think we have to say that about Garrett Wilson. Concerned about the quarterback, but I don't really think that. Could you imagine Aaron Rodgers going down 2 years in a row consecutively like that? I don't really see that. I don't. Anyway,
Yeah, I hope not.
I hope not too. But that would just be, oh my God, like devastation.
I got one more bold prediction.
Go, please.
49ers don't make the playoffs.
That is not too bold for me. It's not that crazy. A few things would have to happen as far as I'm concerned for them to miss the playoffs. I think they would get into the playoffs. I don't necessarily think that they're a lock, though. I really don't. They're not. I mean, that Super Bowl hangover that people talk about, that's got to be real. I'm pretty sure that's real because you try to put yourself into that situation. That type of why is there a hangover? Your bodies are just kind of beaten down, and then there's an emotional, aspect that goes into it. So again, I feel like that's not so crazy. They will probably make it. It's not that nuts. All right, guys, let's
Do you want mine? You gonna skip me?
Hey, we gotta hear from.
So I got 3. One's. I'll go in order of non-boldness. So the first one, AJ Brown, top 3 wide receiver. I think everyone. I mean, I've been touting AJ Brown all year. I love him so much. I know you're a Smith. This is a big Smith crowd around me, but so that's the first one. Second one, Kyler Murray, top 5 QB. Third one,
easy.
Now this is the bold one. I
can't wait to hear this.
By the end of the year, Ray Davis will take over that Buffalo backfield.
Holy shit!
And James Cook will move to more of the third down role, and you'll see Ray Davis on early downs because that's just how they're fit. I don't see this being James Cook's backfield anymore. I think touchdown, end zones, That's going to go to Davis
His
and
backfield.
Allen. I mean, not that Cook ever had touchdowns in the first place, but
Yeah.
a couple he did have, I
His,
think. Are,
his backfield. When was it his backfield? It's always Josh
Yeah.
Allen's backfield. It's freaking Latavius Murray's backfield. Or when was it his backfield? In any event, that sitting in this seat, that's not something I want to hear. I was going through the group the other night, posting all my leagues. I'm so amped up. As I'm posting more leagues, I'm seeing more James Cook than I've drafted. I'm like, holy shit, I drafted a lot of James Cook. I'm a James Cook guy. I am. I believe in, like, again, his pass receiving capabilities. I think they're going to lean on him more. I think you want to mix in the fact that once Joe Brady took over as the play caller last year for what's his face, Dorsey, you saw James Cook, and let's just hope that it stays that way. Guys, we got some good games. Why don't we just stay with the Bills? Are playing the Cardinals tomorrow. What are we looking for?
Ooh. Looking to see if it's actually Greg Dortch. How do you say his last name?
Greg Dortch.
We call him Dorchius around here.
Yeah. And how connected Bob Harris Jr. and Murray are. I know McBride and him have good chemistry, but I'm really interested to see how that looks. And if their defense is improved, or is it going to be trash?
That's exactly. I'm looking for the connection with Marv, without doubt.
And then with
100%.
Buffalo, I'm looking how Keon Coleman is going to do, what his target share is going to look like compared to Dalton Kincaid's, and how their defense is going to look too, because they lost a lot of people this past year, and they didn't really do too much to store it back up, So that's what I'm looking at.
Fantastic. Fellas, anything else in that game?
I think the big thing with Buffalo is that it's just a lot of uncertainty. I mean, you don't know what kind of snap shares these guys are going to get. I think we're going to see a lot of, like, Matt Collins, and everyone's going to freak out. I mean, you're almost throwing a dart week one with the Bills. I mean, like, I love Shakir this year. He's my Bill that I've been targeting everywhere, but I'm not playing him week one. I mean, I'm going to wait and see, but I have the luxury to do that. Some people may not in other leagues, if bigger leagues or things like that. But it's going to be interesting how everything gets divided.
Yeah, really interesting.
Yeah. I want to see how Josh Allen, I want to see if he's going to be well protected, if he's going to be running around a bunch, and see how much he trusts kind of the weapons around him and stuff too, is going to be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely want to see the Kincaid usage. I definitely want to see Kyler Murray with Marvin Harrison Jr. I want to see if they could go into Buffalo Highmark Stadium and just get a road win. That'd be big. Let's see the connection, and then let's see the makeup of this team. Let's see, we could go on the road and we're going to beat the Buffalo Bills. That would be impressive to me. That's what I'm looking for. There's another rookie making his big debut tomorrow, Caleb Williams, Bears and the Titans. What else are we looking for? Let's start with Dad.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I know Caleb Williams, people had different opinions and everything going in. I'm in on Caleb Williams, and I want to see him out there. He's got, it's nothing you haven't heard, but the weapons he's coming into as a rookie is nothing we've ever seen before.
Yeah.
And so I absolutely would love to see Caleb Williams just come out and just ball tomorrow. I think that would just be fun. So I'm in on Caleb Williams, and I'm going to be watching that closely.
How about DJ Moore versus Romo Dunze versus Keenan Allen? It's like
Allen playing.
I didn't see Keenan Allen on any.
Yeah, he's been on the injury report, but
Has he?
I think
Yeah.
he should be playing.
Yeah, I think he's playing. Yeah, we talk about some of the ambiguous backfields, like the Tennessee backfield, which we could get into since we're on the game. But like this, the Bears wide receivers, this ambiguous wide receiver core. Who's going to get the targets? Who's going to be Caleb's go-to wide receiver? That's what I'm looking for. I do have some Roma Dunze shares. I do have a DJ Moore share. I have zero to everybody in the chat. Keenan Allen. How about the ambiguous backfield?
That's
the
what I
Bears,
would
the
say.
Bears backfield. I do not believe in DeAndre Swift. I have DeAndre Swift on a fantasy team. On a dynasty team, I couldn't trade him for a third-round pick.
I have a lot of him.
I couldn't trade him for a third-round pick, Dad. Rhino, you want him? I'll trade him to you. But we're not in the same league.
We'll talk. Yeah.
That's not the same league. I would go.
Oh, okay,
I know, seriously. Like no one in my league would take DeAndre Swift for a third-round pick. No, let me rewind. I wouldn't take a third-round pick in exchange for DeAndre Swift. I wanted a second, but he's going for a third. That to me is horseshit. What does that tell you about DeAndre Swift? Well, it tells you what our league is telling you about DeAndre Swift. However, and we've spoken about this before. The Eagles, yes, he was a 1,000-yard rusher, but at the same time, he was not in on passing downs. And I think the reason for that was because they did not trust him to be in to protect Jalen Hurts. Now, if he is in fact not very good at doing that task, which is pass pro, and he's not really going to be in to protect a rookie quarterback in Caleb Williams. And I really think that we could very well see Khalil Herbert or Roshan Johnson take over this backfield altogether. But that's what I'm looking out for, fellas. Over in Tennessee, I mean, the running back, that situation, okay, fine. The head coach has told us it's going to be like Tony Pollard to start, but they're interchangeable. There's not really much else there. Is there? Do you guys want to is there something else there?
Tennessee?
Yeah. We can move on to a better game.
There's like three teams that have really weird running back situations, and Tennessee's one of them. That I'm really interested to see how that's going to play out, because they're saying that Spears and Pollard are going to do it 50-50. Now I don't know. I don't know.
How did you guys handle that going into the season? Were you guys, if you were looking to grab one of those guys, and there was Spears and there was Pollard in front of you, who did you grab?
Someone else. I avoided it. If I had to click, probably Spears. But
yeah, see, I did Pollard just because of the fact that I know who he is and who he was before last year. So that's just how I'm looking at maybe a year removed from an injury or 2 years removed from the injury, he'll be back to the way he was. So that's how I have to look at it. I mean, he's not like the running back I will start every week, but he's my emergency running back in 2 leagues.
I think Rhino brings up a great point. Could this very well be a Tony Pollard, resurgence based on the fact that, okay, now that he is kind of like that A running back, or, or he's now in an interchangeable role like he was with Zeke.
Mm-hmm.
Could this very well be you're back now to 2022 Tony Pollard? Yeah, it's very possible. Tajay Spears is nothing to sneeze at though either. This is a talented running back, and that's that's the real crux of this. It's like if they're both gonna if Tajay Spears looks really good getting 5 yards a carry or breaking off great catches out of the backfield for 12 yards, how are you gonna take that off the field?
Yeah.
And same thing for Pollard. Same thing.
Who is Ridley wide receiver 1 on that team, or is Hopkins, or
That's something else.
I don't
think
know.
we trade on Burke season now?
I think that's something that's we're all definitely looking at. We're absolutely going to be looking out for that. Who what again? The targets, the snaps, the snap share. Look, the head coach again said that he's going to be using Calvin Ridley in the same fashion that Jamar Chase was used in Cincinnati, the way he's used there. This could be a monster season for Calvin Ridley. However, you also have got a borderline, I'd say borderline, maybe he is a Hall of Famer in DeAndre Hopkins on his last tour, like his last hurrah. This is his last concert. And we'll see what happens there. Fellas, why don't we go to another great game? How about the Arthur Smith Bowl? The Artie Smith Bowl. Jonesy's got a smile on his face. Talk to us. Now, this game turned a hell of a lot more interesting than it should be.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. We're going to see Justin Fields start this game.
Yeah. I don't know. I was a big Pickens guy coming in, the offseason here. And then, everyone was excited when they went and got Russell, and then they traded for Fields, and it was, wow, they're the best quarterback room out there. And I'm just thinking, yeah, but there's going to be controversy now. And now what happens when Fields goes out there and he doesn't perform? We all know he's going to rush. He's going to go out there and rush for 80 yards, and 100. Everyone's going to be excited. Yeah, 100. But if they're not winning games because he can't pass the ball, I don't know. It's just going to cause more controversy when Russell's ready to get back. And I think it's just that whole locker room is going to be a mess now. And I mean, hopefully they just focus on the run game and give the ball to Najee and a little bit of Warren, and I don't know. I'm very cautious about all that now.
It's going to be interesting too, because
you cautious now?
Well, yeah, I'm more cautious now.
You have Pickens, you have Van Jefferson, and then Calvin Austin Jr., right, as the wide receivers.
Yeah.
So how many 3 tight end sets we're going to see in that game too? And who's going to be the dominant tight end out of that group?
Pat.
Yeah, it'll still be fire.
The thing is, though, he wasn't getting the targets like in the preseason. So I know it's preseason, but that's what I'm looking. I'm interested because he should. He just signed an extension, a 4-year, 3 years, 46 million, something like that.
Yeah, it was 448 or something.
48.
So you would think, but then they also just extended Cam Hayward, but he might be more of the fullback, H-back kind of tight end. So and Najee's gonna be running with a purpose a little bit more this year because this is a contract year too.
Yeah.
I think Najee will be running with a purpose if they allow Najee to run with a purpose.
Yeah.
Right? Like we again, this is something that we've spoken about at lengths. Who's the running back? How is it going to be split? Is Jaylen Warren going to be the one that gets the early down work or in between the 20s work? Or is Jalen Warren the one that's going to be in on the goal line? Or is Jalen Warren going to be the one that's in on third down, passing down situation? Or is Najee Harris just going to be now the goal line back? And Jalen Warren's the dude that's in, or you get my point.
Yeah, but
Or is Arthur Smith just going to mess with us and get Cordero Patterson in there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Arthur Smith
We
is
all know
definitely. I think Arthur Smith is definitely going to mess with us. I think Arthur Smith knows that he's messing with us, and I don't think Arthur Smith gives a rat's ass that he's messing with us either. He's gonna, yeah, like he was just demoted to this position. He's gonna want to try. He's young enough to try to get back if he could get this team to score more points. I think the Steelers were dead last, if not second to dead last in points per game for the last 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
I don't mean any disrespect to Jazzy, to LeVar, to Don P. This isn't this is just cold hard facts. However, Dad, I think many of us do expect George Pickens to have a breakout third year. There's no other wide receiver on this team except for the tight end. Which tight end? Are you a George Pickens guy?
I am.
Yeah, I want to see it. I feel like I didn't end up with a lot of shares this year, honestly. I guess just based on where I had him ranked. But I mean, I believe in him, and he's their only hope. If it's not him, I don't know who it's going to be. So,
yeah. All right. Oh, Atlanta. My Atlanta. Bijan Robinson. Tyler Algier, again, not an ambiguous backfield, but okay, there's some whispers that Tyler Algier could very well still be put into the mix to some capacity, to some degree, whether it's to spell Bijan, whether it's to again maybe get some type of goal line work. I don't know. Nevertheless, that's something that I'm looking out for in this game. I'm also looking out for, of course, I want to see Kirk. I want to see his connection to Kyle Pitts. I want to see his connection to Drake London. So this is one of the better games I would say that we should or I'm paying attention to. I'm not paying attention to the Carolina Saints game. I mean, yes, I'd like to see Carolina perform better than they did last season, but it's not a game that I'll actually be focusing on. How about the Raiders now that he's back? Rhino, the Raiders and the Chargers. Give us one or two takeaways from this game that you're looking out for.
I think the Raiders defense is going to surprise people. You're going to hold them to 17 points. I think Trey Tucker will be a surprise, and will have a good game. Look to see how they move Brock Bowers around too. If they're going to move around like they did when he was with Georgia, like Travis Kelce, and then Chargers. I want to see what the backfield looks like. If Kamani Vidal gets, what the split is between him and Wes, and the wide receivers too, because DJ Chark is out, and I know Brandon Rice was out playing him in the preseason.
Was he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. All the talk is about Ladd, but when if Quentin Johnson is going to be, if this going to be a game that he actually catches the balls more than drops them, it's going to be an interesting game.
He does. Look, I don't think he has many drops left in him. How about that?
No.
Your job is to catch the ball. That's it. If he's gonna drop passes early on in this season, he's gonna be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah,
he is. You're gonna Jim Harbaugh, will find somebody off the practice squad and that can catch the ball, right? Yeah. I mean, like Quentin Johnson doesn't have many drops left. Yeah, I was going to bring up Quentin Johnson. I'm glad that you did. We're looking for that. We're looking at the backfield there. The Raiders. How about the quarterback situation?
I trust Minshew. I mean, he was what, a drop pass away from going to the playoffs and winning the division last year.
It's true.
And Pittman had one of his best seasons with him as a quarterback. So he's good because he's mobile. So that fits Getsy's system. He likes the mobile quarterbacks. He'll get the ball. He'll get the ball to Adams. He'll get the ball to everybody that needs the ball to get to. It'll be interesting to see the situation. You know, there's Zamir White's an interesting person because there's people that that we know and we follow like on X that are just fading the hell out of him. And there's people like you and me, and I don't know how Trent and Jonesy feel that he's going to eat. So the split between him and Madison and maybe Dylan Lobb, how that's going to look.
Well, I can tell you how I think it's going to look. Dad, how do you? Are you a Zamir guy? Are you a Zeus man? I think you're. I think you're a Zeus guy.
Yeah, I'm into him. I can't say I've seen the comments, like in Zeus we trust and stuff. Like I'm probably not quite the exact same. Yeah, but no, I mean I do think. Well, I think Alexander Madison is like a cadaver too. So I mean, I think Zamir White's gonna do really well, and then I don't think it'll take long for the rookie to start getting touches behind Zamir, So
Alexander Madison is a cadaver. When the Raiders signed Alexander Madison, I actually got excited for Zamir.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. I thought I was going to have to apologize to you.
No, it just reinforced the position that early. Rhino knows this. That early on, that March, this is Zamir White's job. Now, yes, is he or has he been asked to previously be that third down running back, that dude that catches the ball? We all want running backs that are pass catchers. Yes, of course, because it's going to add. What does it do? It adds fantasy value for us. Of course, we want them. Even if he's not asked to do that, yes, I think the Raiders are going to be better off than they were last season. B, even if they're not better off and they're still 8-9 or 9-8, it means that they're still winning ball games or the games are still close. And that means that Zamir White still is going to get solid, ample opportunity in when the game counts, when the game matters most, in the fourth. You know what, and that's brings up a point that we should have said earlier regarding the Packers and regarding Josh Jacobs. Have you ever seen more of a fourth quarter running back than Josh Jacobs? The man was non-existent for 3 quarters yesterday until the fourth. So, again, for fantasy purposes, Jonesy, it doesn't really matter how we get it, as long as we get it, right? I don't expect Zamir White to all of a sudden emerge in the fourth quarter with 8 minutes to go. I expect it to be nice, steady, consistent. Will it always be that way? No. But again, for where we were drafting this dude, it'll be a home run. I'm gonna need more. I'm gonna need another shelf for the trophies for Zamir. Guys, it's almost that time. Let's do one more game, and then we're gonna wrap it up on a very, very successful first Patrick Pucci Fantasy Show YouTube live broadcast. We are looking at, yes, sir, absolutely. Couldn't thank you enough, each and every one of you, everybody, everyone that's been here. The Broncos, the Seahawks. I saw a comment earlier regarding to start JSN, or I forgot who the other dude was because it's JSN.
Brian Thomas Jr.
It's JSN. If I got that question from anybody on the app, well, it depends on who the other start sit is with JSN. But I believe that JSN is going to have an amazing season because the time for Tyler Lockett is over. It's done. He's ran out. He's ran out his course, whether he's healthy or not. Tyler Lockett will be a nice option for them, an experienced wide receiver. You didn't draft JSN last season that high for him to just dwindle away. He's got too much talent for that. So I expect I expect that over 1,000 yards. This should have been the bold prediction for me, Jonesy.
I was gonna say
It should have been. He's going to go over 1,000 yards receiving. He's going to go, I'm going to say he's 75 to 80 catches. And let's give him 8 touchdowns in this Ryan Grubb offense. That's what I'm calling for. But
That'd be great.
that'd be fantastic. Dad, how about anybody on the Bronco side of the ball?
Wait, you could be a great receiver, but when you got a quarterback like Geno Smith, ain't gonna do no good. I 100% fake. Cause I've had bad experiences with Seattle Seahawks receivers, so I fade them. I don't draft them. I don't touch them. I'll pick up Kenneth Walker and play him, but I'm not touching any receivers this year because I just don't trust. I don't trust Geno Smith, and I've gotten burnt too many damn times. Too many times. So I'm opposite of everybody else seeing, and that's fine because this year will be a prove it. Let the new OC prove it to me that they can get the ball these receivers.
Well, let me ask you. Let me ask you a question. I recognize you're concerned, and a little bit of I'm just gonna say because of how close we are, the bias. Because you said you've gotten burnt. So let's change the scenario. What if it's Sam Howell?
I think Sam Howell's a better quarterback than Geno Smith.
All right.
Now I would trust it more with Sam Howell.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't think it matters, to be honest. I really don't think it matters. I think Geno is competent enough to be able to get the ball to DK Metcalf and JSN. And they'll rely on the run game. It should be a balanced attack. The one odd man out, what really seems like a dead man walking, is Zach Charbonnet, but
Yeah.
I'm not concerned with that. I'm not looking. I do want to see some Kenny Walker. I love me some Kenny Walker, Dad. Jonesy, you a Kenny Walker guy?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I'm looking at JSN. Guys, give us something on the Broncos side. Something positive. Something that we could clip for DW.
I think Javonte Williams will be LMC as a top 10 running back.
For the week?
No. For the season.
For the week.
Season.
Damn.
I mean, we all know how talented Javonte is. I mean, at least some of us do. I've been a Javonte guy since he got drafted, and I thought it would happen last year. And I think a year more removed from injury. I mean, this is a contract year for him, essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got to show it this year, or he might fall to the wayside. Come next year. So I mean, they drafted Estime, which, I mean, we'll have to see how that involvement is, but obviously he's the direct replacement for Javonte. So, I mean, Javonte's got to play well, or he's gonna lose that spot. I mean,
and then you got Jaleel.
Yeah, and you got Jaleel McLaughlin. He's gonna be doing a lot of the passing down work, I would think.
Yeah, he'll be the Camaro role.
Or the other way around. Although, we expect it to be that way. We do. Again, Bo Nix looked good. I think Bo Nix has a good understanding of what Sean Payton wants, or he better have a good understanding of what Sean Payton wants. Or let me put it to you this way: I don't think they're going to be calling the entire playbook for Bo Nix right out of the gate. They're going to want to at least give him a good amount of plays that they know that he can execute on, that they're comfortable and confident that he could execute with. and then they'll open it up a little bit for them.
Okay, what do you think the over under deep throws he throws tomorrow?
They'll take some shots. I think they'll definitely take some shots. How many? Hey, give them like one per half. Two, maybe three deep shots.
So per half, so maybe 6.
No, all right. Well, deep shots meaning like going for like the end zone, like past 20 yards.
Half 20 yards, yeah.
Probably one per half.
Okay.
While everything else is just like kind of like shrunk, condensed.
Check down
And
start.
well,
Yeah.
The intermediate stuff, right? Intermediate, and yes, a lot of that like short check down, short passing game situation. Yeah, and running the ball. But yeah, they'll take some shots. Remember, what we see, what appears to us as like, a big play, I think is really considered, anything past 15 to 20 yards. So like if it's past that, it's going for a big chunk. That's a big downfield play. I don't really see them doing anything beyond one or two of those a game for now.
Yeah.
Remember, right, Rhino. So like, if they're executing the smaller stuff along the way, those aren't really necessary. And yes, they'll take a deep shot every once in a while. Tomorrow, I don't know, Jonesy,
But-
2, 3, maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe,
I mean,
maybe.
there's going to
I
be a couple for sure. I mean, it just depends on how far.
Yeah.
I don't expect them to be able to keep up with the Seahawks either. I mean, that Denver defense
Right.
we know is horrible against the run, and they did nothing to improve it. The only person on that defense that's any good that you have to worry about is really Patrick Surtain. I mean,
They'll beat the Seahawks tomorrow.
so
In Seattle,
I would expect Seattle to just throw away from Patrick, and I mean whoever's lined up against the other guys, because they got who's the guy? Wasn't he in Pittsburgh last year? Levi
The guy in Pittsburgh last year.
Wallace, was he a corner in Pittsburgh last year? Was it Wallace? Am I thinking that right?
So, yeah.
I think that's who they got. I mean, he's so bad. I mean, it's the defense is
What
I'm
other
not expecting
receiver
much.
Courtland Sutton do you think is going?
I didn't hear the question. I'm sorry.
What other wide receiver do you think will show up tomorrow than Courtland Sutton?
Besides Courtland Sutton, I don't know. I Marvin Mims. I don't. Yeah. Again, I'm looking at it through the prism of all the dudes that I've drafted at the position, all the leagues that I'm in, and where these Bronco wide receivers have gone. So I know a few things for sure. A, I have no Bronco receivers except for one piece of Courtland Sutton. Again, a dynasty team. B, other than that, the other guys have been not drafted or in much deeper leagues, very late rounds. So I mean, your guess is that's why it's like hard for me to answer. Your guess is as good as mine. That's it, fellas. I think we covered everything. No, I mean, again, Carolina Saints. I'm sure we're missing a game here or there. In any event, though, till next time.
Yeah.
We'll do better than next time, right?
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night, tomorrow night we'll be on to recap the main Sunday slate. That will be immediately following the 4:25 game. Until then, I will see everyone tomorrow night. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.